There we go. That was a bit of a quick start. We went live very very late there, John, but we've made it. I think everyone can see and hear us. We're speaking after the first game of Celtic's UEFA Champions League group stage campaign. It was a disappointing one, a 2-0 defeat away to Feyenoord. A very even first half, I thought. Second half, anything but. A bit of a capitulation, and that's a big fancy word to use for 7:15 in the morning. But yeah, what do you make of it?
Yeah, first of all, good morning, Hamish, over in Australia. Good evening here, not so good evening. What did I make of it? Pretty much same old Celtic in Europe. I mean, it feels like something. Although there's always new ways to shock and surprise us or disappoint us, it always seems to be the way that there is some form of capitulation, as you put it, or some form of disaster that stings us away from home in Europe. And again, that was the case. Again, as you say, it was a game that was very much in the balance. And then, like preventable, really soft goal to give away just before half time. And then after half time, we just weren't there and got let down by a couple of new players. And it just went against us, unfortunately. I think my biggest gripe about it is just I just don't know if we're a team capable of winning games at this level, and that's what the most disappointing thing is. So that's how I'm feeling after it. In terms of the game itself, like you say, very even to begin with, and then we just kind of bluttered ourselves in the face. Not quite as eloquent as you say, capitulation, bluttered, but that's what we did. We bluttered ourselves in the face.
Yeah, I mean, I know looking at the first half, I think we're maybe, you obviously, and it was even. I kind of looked at the stats half time and it was even. I just always felt looking at that first half, maybe it's just that kind of pessimistic view you have as a supporter of your team, but I always just felt they were more comfortable playing out from the back. I actually thought we started the game quite well. The first 5-10 minutes we were moving the ball about, and I was kind of looking at it thinking, there's something for us in this game, and to be honest I felt that way for the entire first half. But I did always feel that they just looked that bit more natural, and I felt as the game went on, the pressure kind of increased. But there is no doubt that we, as you say, kind of shot ourselves in the foot at main key points in that match. Joe Hart probably being the first one. I don't think the wall was great either. I know that's Joe Hart's responsibility. But that was a major moment, almost just like at Ibrox when we scored just before halftime. It was the opposite today.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't blown away by our performance in the first half. I think the good thing about the first half was that it wasn't a disaster away from home in Europe. We didn't have the dreaded early goal. We looked okay. We were a bit slack in possession, but I thought we were pressing pretty well. I think we caught them out 2 or 3 times. We had a moment where Hatate could have played in Kyogo. We had a kind of shot from Hatate as well. We kind of looked
better there.
Should have done better. I mean, but I thought we looked lively in those opening periods. But just on the goal, and I know a lot of people are saying about the goal in Kyogo, but as I think you alluded to it there, like it's Joe Hart's responsibility to set up that wall, and I'm not sure why Kyogo's there. I'm not sure what the thinking is behind that. I'm not sure if it just wasn't noticed by someone. But Kyogo shouldn't be in that position where you look at the replay and it's like 3 pretty tall guys jumping in unison and Kyogo on the edge of the wall doing what a striker would do in a wall and kind of turn his back to kind of trying to block it that way, and it just didn't work, and Joe Hart left too much space, and for me it was a preventable goal. I don't think we should be conceding a free kick from that position unless it's an actual world-class free kick, and it certainly wasn't that. It just exploited poor setup from Celtic, poor positioning from Joe Hart, and unfortunately that led to the goal. But yeah, I agree, Kyogo shouldn't have been in that wall, but again, it's Hart's responsibility to set up the wall, make sure he's happy with it, so there's no use in them complaining about it after it and shouting at them, because it's his responsibility to set that up.
Right, am I being really kind of cynical here, or was there a fair bit of moaning at other players tonight from players in our team? I don't know if it's just that it's at the top level and nerves are frayed and all of that, but Hatate was moaning a few times at Liam Scales for not giving him the ball when he literally had a player right in his back at all times, and then Hart kind of moaning at the wall, and I just kind of thought that wasn't a very Celtic thing to do in terms of this current team. I don't really see that much, and I mean that to me, just when you mentioned there that right after the goal, I mean Joe Hart was definitely at fault. He might not have been the only one, But even if, that wall kind of disintegrates like it did at the left-hand side, he still has to get across and touch that wide. It's not that the shot isn't particularly powerful. It's not right in the corner. It was just a really, really soft goal to concede, and it was the timing of the goal as well. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying not to be really negative, but just when that goal went in, I didn't really have much of a feeling that we were really going to come back in that second half.
I said to you at half time, I literally said we're going to get a red card by 60 minutes and we're going to lose by 2 or 3 goals. And that was very much what happened, because as soon as he scored, you just sensed that they would grow into the game, they would get more confident, we would make a couple of rash decisions and we would fall apart, because that's what we've seen from Celtic so many times. And that's the frustrating thing about it, is that I feel like Feyenoord are a team, they do have good resources, they are a good European team, but if we have any ambition at all, we should be looking at a team like Feyenoord and thinking, but not that we have any divine right to go there and beat them, but that we can not go there and just completely, do ourselves in and look like we're in awe of the situation. I think Celtic are a bigger club than that. I think we deserve better than that. I mean, if it's Barcelona away and you're in the new camp, and it's a different situation, but we should be able to get through these games without completely falling apart. And again, I think we've completely fallen apart, and that's what's frustrating me. And I think the penalty is the penalty. I think the red card's a red card. And I know a lot of people might disagree with me in that respect. I think a lot of people might look at it through, tinted specs. But for me, in this modern game with VAR and all that, if you stick your arm out and you block a guy in the box, it's going to be a penalty. If you go in with your studs up pretty high on someone's shin, it's going to be a red card. That's just the reality of it. And I think again, those 2 incidents were so preventable and really naive and kind of brain fades in a way, and it's really frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I mean, just on those 2 incidents, my take on them, the red card, 100% a red card. I mean, nowadays, when the minute you see, because he kind of slides in at first, and I was kind of thinking, oh, that's not too bad, but then it's his other foot comes in and really, studs right on the shin almost. It's a red card, it's daft, it's in the middle of the pitch, it's the kind of one that is always going to be a red card nowadays. The penalty, I tend to agree. I think it probably is a penalty. I don't think it's an absolute certain one you would see given absolutely everywhere. I think you've seen collisions or coming togethers like that occasionally that the ref waves on. So that's maybe one of the frustrations with penalties and VAR nowadays. But, I can totally see why it's been given. And my big frustration there and with the home one is that we've given the referee an opportunity to make the decision there. When both were really, really needless. I mean, Joe Hart is coming out, he's going to collect that ball. Lagerbielke, just for kind of no real reason, just kind of brushes his arm up, and it was just really untidy. And as I say, the home one is even harder to defend. So, a big learning curve. A couple of Scandinavians coming to the club, never played in the Champions League before, and they've both been sent off in their debuts, so it's a huge kind of moment for them to see what they do. But it wasn't just them. There was other players that kind of daft things. I thought we did some things well tonight. I thought Alistair Johnson had a decent enough game. I know he's kind of at fault for the second goal. Matt O'Reilly in the first half I thought was kind of getting stuck in a bit and won the ball back. I thought Dyson Maeda was kind of all right. But in general, not too many positives. And when you're looking at, down to 9 men, the game's over at that stage. There's no chance you're getting anything out of it.
Yeah, the game is pretty much over, and there's little judgment you can take from it because everyone in the team is stretched in their own position or what they're asking to do. So it just kind of falls apart, really. So after that, it's kind of game over, and you're suddenly looking at the rest of the group. And obviously, there are difficult matches ahead, and we just hope that we can raise our game a bit at home, because I think away from home in the Champions League, I just have no confidence of picking up a positive result, even a draw against Lazio or Atletico. I know we've beaten Lazio in recent years, but for some reason in the Champions League away from home, we just, a lot of the time, we don't do particularly well, or we seem overawed by the occasion. And it's kind of frustrating because you're looking at building on a position of strength last year. Could we have done more in the summer? Should we have used our resources better? The club are saying they want to keep a buffer of cash, etc., etc. But do we have the balance right of spending against being careful with our money? These are going to be things that people are going to be asking over the next while, and it's going to be exacerbated if we don't perform well in Europe. And I think tonight, for about 40 minutes, we performed decently, and then for 45 minutes, it was just a capitulation again. So we're not getting the balance right at the moment, I don't think. And that I think that's what a lot of people will be frustrated. That's certainly what I'm frustrated about tonight, is that the club is well run, it's guided well, we're strong financially, but are we using the resources to the best of our ability with the operating costs we have and with the amount of money that's been coming through the club? Could we have done more this summer to better tool up Brendan Rodgers' options for the Champions League? I think most people would say yes, in hindsight, and that's that's criticism the club will have to take on board for future transfer windows and future goals at this competition.
Well, are we in a better position to mount a proper challenge in this competition than we were this time last year? I would say probably no. It feels, and I know we've obviously changed manager, but it feels like a very different thing. I felt like last year we were kind of building and we're talking about the players benefiting from this experience, and we've obviously lost a good few of those players since then. Juranovic, Giacomakis, Starfelt, Jota, Moy, Starfelt, etc. But it just feels to me like the team are kind of starting a new journey in this competition, and for me personally, I feel we're further away from where we wanted or where we were last year, and that's a concern to me. I mean, the other game tonight was a 1-1 draw, I think, between Lazio.
Yeah, did you see it? No. The keeper equalised in the last minute.
Really?
Was the keeper. Yeah, it was a goalkeeper. It was kind of a corner. He went up for the corner. The ball gets recycled to the edge of the box. He swings it in, and the goalkeeper makes an incredible run and sticks away a header, and it's crazy scenes. So very, very interesting times over there. So I don't know what it would have been better if Atletico had just beaten them.
I guess it's the 2 points they've taken from that match rather than 3, if you get me. So I guess it's better for us in that regard. But it makes that next game at home to Lazio certainly a must not lose, probably a must win if we want to qualify for the last 16 anyway. I think that home form, I agree with you, is going to be massive. Positives for tonight, Neil bringing up Liam Scales, I think that's fair. I missed him out there, but I agree with that. I think he probably was our best player tonight. I thought he was decent enough. I know there maybe wasn't a great amount of competition. The other point, it was only 2-0. Feyenoord scored 4 goals. 2 of them were chalked off. They missed a penalty. We played 20 minutes with 9 men. That could have been a horrendous scoreline when you consider some of what went on. So I know it's not the positive people wanted to hear, but at least it wasn't that damaging in terms of our goal difference. Maybe the head-to-head could come into play with Feyenoord later on in the competition. So that's my positive. At least it wasn't a drubbing. Have you got a positive that can beat that?
I think Rodgers might try. I've not heard what he said after the game, but I think he might try to take some comfort from the fact that we started the game well, and that's been a difficulty for us at times over the years in this competition. We started the game well and looked composed for some of the match. It's just again about putting together a 90-minute performance, and now I kind of agree. And I'm not sure if maybe our expectations were out of whack over the summer in terms of building on position of strength, or whether it's like, I just feel like we're a little bit back at the beginning a wee bit, and we're at the start of another new project rather than the continuation of a successful one. And we sold Jota and Starfelt, but I still feel like we're just at the start here with a lot of new players, a lot of people coming in, and maybe that's something to build on in terms of like, maybe this is as bad as we're going to be, or we're going to try and build towards something now under Rodgers. That's what we're all waiting to see, but it'll be frustrating for many that we are kind of right back at the beginning again, because I feel like that's where we are. We're building again towards something rather than going off the high of the treble last year and taking us on to new heights. That's not what's happening here. We're building something new again, and maybe we should have always had those expectations with the change of manager, but I think a lot of people maybe expected a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Carter Vickers is going to be back hopefully for Lazio. Nat Phillips hopefully be back by then. Hatate will hopefully be more up to speed. there's a bit of debate going on about Hatate. I don't think he was awful tonight. I just didn't think stuff was coming off for him, but he wasn't really shying away from it. Palma would hopefully be in a bit better state and more matches under his belt. Maybe Paulo Bernardo will be more of a kind of contributor by that stage. Kyogo barely touched the ball tonight, so maybe he can be more effective as well. So there are positives there. It's only one match. I just think that next game is a key one. If we lose that, I think you're already looking at fourth place, sadly. I think if we win it, suddenly things flip and kind of anything's possible. And if it's a draw, I guess who cares?
And how is it watching the games from over there, Hamish? Everyone will be wondering how you're getting on in Australia because you've not been on the channel since you moved. So how is everything?
It's fine. It was, I think, a 4:30 alarm this morning. Game kicked off at 5. It sounds horrendous, but it's actually all right. So even you're getting up for like a big game like that, you kind of bounce out of bed. And yeah, watch it. The coverage wasn't as good as you probably get back home. Stan Sports show it in Australia, so it was just like one commentator who was a bit clueless, to be honest. I've never heard him commentate before, but he said some strange things during the match.
Is that you after his job now, Hamish? You better watch it.
Yeah, I know. I might look into that. I'm assuming he'll be a kind of generic UEFA commentator that they just pipe in the commentary. But I got up for Scotland-England last week. That didn't go well. I got up for this today. So I'm hoping one day getting up at 4:30 will pay dividends and I'll see a positive result. Maybe in 3 weeks or so against Lazio. How are you feeling generally about the campaign now?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was just going to say that. I mean, I don't think we're going to lose all our games. I'm not totally despondent. It's just what it is. It's just frustrating seeing the same thing over and over again, over and 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 over. And I'm not buffering. I'm saying over and over that many times again because it feels like this is what I've been watching for the last 20 years. So that's what's frustrating about it. We'll see what happens in the other games. Obviously, Celtic Park, different story. I do think they're tough games. I think they're all tough games. And Celtic will need to be at their really best at home to have a chance of winning those games, I feel like. No really slack possession, no giving the ball away needlessly. And there was many players guilty of it tonight, reliable ones and newcomers. Yeah, McGregor, Hatate giving the ball away a lot, Taylor giving away the ball a lot. We need these players to be on it. We need them to be sharp and incisive and quick thinking. And it is difficult. It's a big ask. I'm not sure if we're capable, but I'm sure we're going to find out and enjoy it somehow either way. Because I was excited tonight. I was excited going into the match tonight. I actually love the Champions League. I love Celtic being in it. I know a lot of people are really sick of it at this point, but I like us trying to reach a level. And I really want the club to try and push to reach a level. I'm not saying we're going to go into the semi-finals. I'm not saying we can knock off all of these teams and get 18 points out of the group, but I want us to try and attain and give the best of ourselves. And frankly, I feel like maybe over the last few months we haven't tried to have that ambition within us. It feels like we haven't had that ambition in us, and I think that's what I'm craving right now. I want to see that ambition, not just off the pitch, but on the pitch too, and hopefully Rodgers can inspire that again, because I'm just not feeling that aspect of it. I don't feel like we're pushing to give the best of ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to round up the video, because as I say, last season it felt very much under Postecoglou like there was a real vision to try and compete at this level. The whole group stage campaign, I feel like, was littered with comments from him about us trying to be there every year and reach this level, and it just feels different now. I just feel quite flat after that. Yeah, I mean, you're going to feel kind of down after defeats anyway, but I don't know, I just feel flat. But it could all flip if we beat Lazio in match day 2.
Listen, yeah,
we'll all be feeling good.
Let's get a home game under our belts. Let's see how we are under the lights and see if we can get a bit of that magic back. That's what we're lacking at the moment. But I think, as I say, we're right at the start of something here. So hopefully, this is the base level. Hopefully this isn't as far as we can go. Hopefully we can build from here. But we can keep saying that and keep wanting to be true and keep talking about it, but the team need to show it on the pitch. And it would have been the same under Ange. If Ange was still here, It would have been if Everton would lost the night and would had the same old failings. It would have been the same because Ange talked a lot last year, and it is great to hear that kind of vision and that kind of ambition, and like you're building towards something. But we need to start seeing it on the pitch at some point. So hopefully we can get something good out of this group at some point.
Yes, big game Saturday now away to Livingston. Really can't afford any drop points, so hopefully we see a bit of a reaction from the team then. Right, we're going to head off now. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. About 600 of you on live right now. Plenty more will be watching this afterwards. So yeah, big thanks for tuning in, and we'll speak to you at some stage soon.